Kwam Yasharala rise to the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I'm Chaarash Allah, and welcome to another weekly class with Sons of Isaac Israelite congregation. And of course, we just wanted to go into tonight's lesson is shaving your head and your face. Is it acceptable according to the Bible? So this is one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves, because we know that in today's society, especially in the Western hemisphere, or shall I say Western civilization here in North America, there's a certain way that you have to look. There's a certain appearance that you have to be found acceptable in the eyes of what we know as society, right? Of course, especially if you're in like corporate America, you see that they have a certain grooming standard, that, of course, men and women must live up to. Like, say, for instance, if you're dealing like with security jobs, how you have to be clean shaven, right? But what about for those of us, man, who are in the security field or in certain positions in corporate America, to where, we're upholding the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, right? And of course, we're not going to accept, shaving off our beard or going, all the way down to a one to where you can't even see, the stubble on our face or anything like that, right? Or shaving our head bald. So, of course, we're just going to go into the scriptures a little bit and just show, man, how shaving, of course, the head and the face, man, and marring your beard and your hair, how that was a reproach to our nation, man. Our brothers and our sisters, they never desired, to be bald in the head or anything like that, right? Even when, losing hair, okay, it was definitely, man, like a reproach to a man or a woman. All right. So, so first off, let's go to the law, and let's open up to the book of Leviticus chapter 19, and we'll start at verse 27. All right. So we're in the laws of God, and they specifically state this. And it says, hold on, I'm sorry. And it says, ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shave, ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard, right? So as you can see, the Bible just specifically states, man, when it says ye are not to round meaning to destroy the corners of your heads, right? So what's the corner of your head? Meaning the sides of, your head, right? The sides of your hair, okay? So then it says, and it says, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard, right? So what is the corner of our beard, right? The sideburns in which we have all, going all the way down to our chin, right? So men are not supposed to destroy any part of the beard that is on their face, right? Everything is supposed to be what you would call connected, right? And I'll show examples of that. Okay, so as you see the image here, this brother is pretty much, bald in the head, right? As you can see, this is what we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to shave our heads completely bald like that. The way this brother has his head shaved, okay? We're supposed to have our hair lines intact. Okay, so now let's get some more examples of how we're not to look. All right, so as you can see, these are just the different styles, man, to show, how how bald, how the style of being bald is in, all right, modern standards, right? It's a form of cleanliness to our oppressors, because they keep themselves shaved, right? Because we know that the so-called white man is a hairy beast, all right? Or as you can see, he used to be a very hairy beast, okay? And of course, just to hide his identity and who he is, of course, he has to have a certain appearance about himself. He has to be clean shaven, right? So as you can see, these are just men who have basically destroyed, destroyed, their hair. All right. So they're doing exactly what the scriptures said not to do. Okay, you see this brother right here with the razor shaving his head. That is unlawful according to the to our biblical text, right? So now, even with this, as you can see, like Brother Common here, Okay, you see that he still has a full beard, right? But yet his head is still completely bald. That is still unlawful according to Scripture. All right, so you can't have one without the other. All right, you have to have both. Okay, so again, here go another picture, another image of Common. Just showing how, all right, you see that, yeah, he has the beard, but yet his head is completely bald, man. I mean, he's destroyed the corners of his head. All right, all of that is gone. All right, so now even dealing with the aspect of men's haircuts. All right, men have to definitely be very, very careful, man, of how they cut their hair as well. Okay, so now I'm going to get some images of that. Hold on one second. Let's check this out again. So just to show you different examples, man, of how men destroy or mar the corners of their head and their beard, all right, to where it's no longer it's no longer in connection. Okay. So again, fades still unlawful, man, because it's still not enough hair upon the head, right? You still see baldness. And as you see in this example here, you still see he has hair on the top of his head, right? You still see he has a full beard down here, but yeah, this is destroyed. Okay, all of this is just completely destroyed. All right, in today's standards and in this society, this would definitely be acceptable. This would be what you would call clean cut, as they say, right? But of course, according to scriptures, man, he's destroyed the corners of his head, right? So he's fading the sides and everything. All right. Let's get some more. So they have different styles of how brothers cut their hair, fade their hair. Check this out again. Lines in the head, designs in the head. Okay. Again, brother destroying his head. All right, destroying the hair on his head. Okay. The different designs that brothers put in their head, that's what you still would call marring. All right. Again, here go an example over here. As you can see, this brother has a straight edge line going all the way to the from the front to the back of his to the back of his head. This flat top fade, as you can still see, is faded. So he's basically cut or shaved the rest of his hair or off his head, and just only left a little for the top. Same thing as you see for some of these other brothers as well. All right, different examples. Marring of the head again. Chris Brown have the star in his head. Okay, again, this is another instance of marring of the head. So we definitely have to be careful, man, how we cut our hair, and how we cut our children's hair as well. All right, put in designs and style. This is marring. This is still destroying the sides or the corners of your head. So these are just some examples of what the biblical text is talking about. So now let's check out the women now. All right. Are women supposed to shave their head or shave the side of their heads and have baldness upon their head? No, it's not, because this law still applies to the females as well. Okay. So now let's get this. Let's look at this. Black, excuse me, black women. I'm sorry. Shaved hairstyle, shaved sides, hairstyle, all of that. All right, so let's check these out. So now, again, as you see, the size of this woman's hair is just completely destroyed. All right, according to our Bible. Okay, so her hair is not supposed to look like this. She has baldness upon her head, right? So how is it that she has a full head of hair on one side yet, and then have no hair on the other side? Okay, so this is what you would call she's destroyed the corners of her head. All right, women do not have beards. All right, women do not have or should not be growing full beards at all. All right, so remember, a woman has to have that the feminine nature still within herself. All right, but she is still not to cut her hair or shave it at all. Okay. So as you can see, these are just different examples of how women have shaved the sides of their heads and put baldness in their head, or mark the corners of their heads as well. All right. You can look at the different hairstyles. Okay. All of this is unlawful. Dyeing of the hair, all of that, according to the text. All right. Look at this. I believe this is I think that's Rihanna from the side. I'm not sure. But again, as you can see, sides of her head is shaved, and also it's marred with designs in her head. All right. So now, let's continue in the scriptures. All right, to show let's get a little bit more on how we're not supposed to shave. Okay, so this was a commandment given to the Levitical priests as well. So the Levites had to teach that the children of Israel were not supposed to shave, and they also had to uphold the grooming policy for themselves as well. All right. So now this is the book of Leviticus chapter 21 and verse 5, and it says, "They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beards, nor make any cuttings in their flesh." Right. So of course, again, they're not to shave their heads, all right, or shave off the corners of their heads, excuse me, or I'm sorry, make baldness upon their heads, right? Meaning shave their head bald. Okay. It says neither shall they shave off the corners of their beards. All right. So they weren't supposed to shave off their beards at all either. All right. So they had to have a full beard, and they had to have hair upon their head. Okay. So the hair, you had different, like you had men that wore their hair in different ways. You had men that pulled their hair, meaning they trimmed their hair to where it was like maybe like a short style haircut, to where you see it's still full, you know what I mean, but it looks very neat, right? Then you may have had brothers that of course, have had have had long hair, you know, and long hair, long beards, long hair, short beards, but everything was still full and everything was connected. Okay. So let's check this out. So we can kind of get an example of what's being talked about. So again, some of these images of brothers, man, having full beards and marred heads, of course, is still unlawful. All right. Look at this full beard, but everything's still marred. The corner of his head is still marred. All right. This is close to being lawful here. All right. He still has he has a beard here, and also his hair is full. All right. Look at this. So I'm just using these as examples. You had men who had hair on their head, but they have full beards, long hair, short beards. So these are just examples that I'm just pulling out right now. If I can find a good example. See, Esau got it right. They have the full hair and then the beard on his face. Esau getting it right. All right, this is close to it right. This image right here. This is a pretty good image right here. All right, if you can see it. All right. So as you see, the brother still has a full beard, and also he still has hair upon his head. It does not look like here his edges or his corners have been marred whatsoever. All right, look like he's just getting a normal cut, cut low. Looks like about a 2, and of course he still has a full beard. All right. So just to show you, man, how men, how men had their hair. I mean, you can look up all kind of images, man. Dealing with brothers in their hairstyles and the type of hairstyles that they wore. Even still dealing with sisters as well. But just to go to show, just to show a little bit of it. All right, here's a good one right here. So this is pretty much exactly how a man's head should look. All right, everything's still intact. Everything's still intact. Everything's still full. Bam, this is basically the perfect image right here. All right. So as you can see, everything is pretty much where it's supposed to be. All right. Sides are intact. Full head of hair on his head. Though it's cut low, or what we call pole or trimmed low. Beard is still intact. No, nothing being pushed back whatsoever. Hairline is not pushed back. or anything like that. All right, everything is pretty much according to Scripture here. All right, he has hair on his head. Everything is connected on the side, and he has a full beard. Nothing shaved off or anything. No designs. None of that. All right. So of course, let's read that again in Leviticus 21:5. So it says, "And they shall not make baldness upon their heads, neither shall they shave off the corners of their beards." All right, so they're not supposed to shave off their beards whatsoever. So you see men nowadays that are naked in the face. That's due to what was embedded within us according to this Western civilization. All right. So of course they taught us their standard of cleanliness and grooming and so on and so forth, to where our men would basically pretty much lose that masculinity. All right, which was the beard that was given to us and the hair that was upon our heads. Right. So let me read this real quick. This is in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. This is dealing with the beard. So I'm gonna go to page 101 in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. All right, so just bear with me here for a second as I find it. All right, and it says, if I have the right page number, that's cut into something else. All right, hold on one second. Let me grab it. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. It's actually page 72. All right. So it says the beard, a badge of manly dignity. So that's what the beard represented. All right, for us. Okay, as Israelite men, it was a badge of manly dignity. So it says, as a sign of mourning, it was the custom to pluck it out or cut it off. The Israelites were forbidden to shave off the corners of their beards, probably because it was regarded as a heathenish sign, right? So it shows you that it was a heathenish sign for a man to shave off his beard. All right. So you see that the other nations were the ones that enjoy being clean in the face, man, and looking effeminate. All right. So according to the Israelite custom, that was not so. All right. So it showed you that a beard was a badge of manly dignity. All right. So that's why you see the whole beard fad coming in now. All right. So you see, everybody doesn't want to be clean shaven anymore. Everybody wants to, grow a beard to have that, that badge of manly dignity now. All right. So now let's check this out. Let's go to page 95. Let's deal with baldness. Let's see what it says about baldness. And I'm still in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. So just bear with me for a moment. All right, here we go. It's baptism. Hold on one second, everybody. Actually, it's not in here. It's not in this one, I guess. It must be my much older Zondervan that it's in. But nonetheless, all right, let's check this out. Let's check out hair. Let's see what hair was a sign of for the ancient Israelites. Let's go to hair. All right. Give me a second. Okay. And it says, So this is in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, page 213. It says hair, regarded by the Jews as a mark of beauty and sometimes of pride. Baldness was despised, right? So as you can see, it says baldness was despised by the ancient Israelites. Okay, so now let's check out real quick. Let's go to the book of Second Kings. Second Kings, real quick. Chapter 2. Second Kings chapter 2. So I believe this is dealing with the prophet Elisha. So Second Kings chapter 2, and we'll get verse 24. We'll start at verse 23, or actually 22. So it says, so the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him, and said unto him, go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head. So as you can see, they were mocking him, right? So we just read that baldness was despised amongst the ancient Israelites. So let's read on. So it says, and he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the woods and tear 42 children of them. Right. So you see, you don't mock a prophet of the Lord whatsoever. All right. Especially when the Lord is with him. Okay, so these children mocked him because he was bald. All right. So now, in the case of, say, for instance, like Brother Elisha, right? So he pretty much was what he didn't shave his head literally, right, to be against the commandments of God, but he was what you would call forehead bald. All right. Let's get an example of that. Forehead bald. Okay. As I said, sorry, bear with me again, please. So basically, it was it was this. How can I show? That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Here we go. This is a good image right here. Just to show what kind of what forehead bald means. So it basically is just simply showing you, man, that he would have a loss of hair. Okay, so black men, when they're forehead bald, they lose their hair in front. All right, so that's due to like certain diseases, and I'll mention it. But let's go to the book of Leviticus real quick. Let's go back to Leviticus. Let's get chapter 13, because the Most High even speaks about this. All right. So remember, hair was a sign of beauty. It was also a badge of honor to the ancient Israelites. All right. So now it says here in chapter 13 and verse 29, and it says, if a man or a woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in the sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let me get chapter 40. I'm sorry. Let me get Leviticus 13 and 40. All right, my mistake, Salakia. And it says, and a man whose hair is fallen off his head, he is bald, yet he is clean. And he that hath his hair fallen off from the part of his head towards his face, he is forehead bald, yet he is clean. And if there be in the bald head or bald forehead a white reddish sore, it is a leprosy sprung up, and his bald head or his bald forehead. All right. So basically, it was just showing you, going back to the first one. If a man's hair just falls out, it just falls out on his own. The man is clean. All right. So they even had to say, for instance, if if a man's hair was falling out, and of course you will see like change in the skin color, or change in the change in the skin color, like a reddish sore or something, then of course, then they would diagnose it as the plague of leprosy, right? But if a man's hair was just generally just falling out of his head, then of course it would just be what you would call forehead bald. All right, so he's just losing his hair. Okay, so this is what basically what was happening to Elisha. He was just losing his hair. So something similar to this right here. All right, the thinning of the hair, all of this is his hair is falling out. So he's going to be bald head, uh, forehead bald. Okay. So that's what basically generally what was happening with Elisha, and that's why the children was mocking him. Remember, being having hair was a sign of a beauty and dignity and pride. All right, amongst the ancient Israelites. All right, you were bald head; it was like an embarrassment to them. Okay, so now let's get that real quick. All right, so certain diseases like the Most High was showing us here. Um, Again, dealing with, say, for instance, if the beard, if he had a disease in the beard, or his forehead or whatnot, if he became forehead bald and the hair started falling off of his face, there's a disease. It's called alopecia, right? So alopecia is a disease that causes hair loss in the. It says it causes hair loss. Okay, and also in other parts of the body as well. So brothers can lose lose the eyebrows. They can lose the mustache, all of the hair on their face, or even the hair that is on top of their head. Okay, so that's one of the diseases that can cause hair loss upon the face. All right, so you may see brothers, they may not, they may have had hair at one time, and then you don't see their hair anymore. What happened? Well, maybe he had a disease. All right, so definitely got to be mindful, man, of brothers and sisters that do suffer from those types of diseases. All right, so even in another one, like say if a brother or sister has cancer, their hair falls out. You know what I mean? There's nothing they can do about that. So there's no sin in that because it's falling out. All right. So basically, if they're shaving it, of course, shaving it, that's willfulness, that's being willful. And if they are, pretty much, if it's just your hair's falling out, you're suffering from hair loss, then there's nothing that you can do about that. The thinning of the hair falling out, there's nothing that you can do about that. That's why the Lord said, yet that man is clean. All right. So there's no sin in your hair just naturally falling out. You can't help, your hair thinning and falling out. Okay. So now, of course, there are other scriptures, man, that show and show and prove, man, that hair and the beard was a sign of dignity to the ancient Israelites. Of course, let's go to the book of First Samuel, chapter 21, and get verse 13. Just to show that King David himself had a beard, so he just wasn't no clean cut boy like everybody think he was. No, he was a man. All right. So now let's get this. First Samuel 21, and we'll read verse 13, and it says, "Then David and his men, which were about 600, arose and departed out of Keilah, and went whithersoever they could go. And it was told Saul that David was escaped from Keilah and had forbeared to go forth. And David abode in the wilderness in the strongholds and remained." Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong chapter. Let me go back I'm going to 21 and 13. I'm sorry. So it says, First Samuel chapter 23 and chapter 21 and verse 13, and it says, "And he changed his behavior before them and framed himself mad in their hands and scrambled on the floor of the gate and let his spittle fall down upon his beard." Right. So showing you that King David had a beard upon his face. Okay. So now let's go to the book of Second Samuel to show you that it was a shame, man, if you know what I'm saying, if a man shaves his beard. All right. So remember, you would be clowned, you would be made fun of. They would look at you a certain way if your face was shaved. All right. So this is in 2 Samuel chapter 10 and verse 4. And it says, wherefore Hanun took David's servants and shaved off the one half of their beards and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. So as you can see right here, as you can see, this was the king of Ammon, and David sent messengers unto him because he heard that his father died, right? So of course, David being kind was trying to send word to the son or whatever. The king has Hanan had got some bad counsel and ended up embarrassing David's his servants. Okay, so let's read on. When they told it unto David, he sent to meet them because the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown and then return, right? So then he said, he's like, all right, the men were greatly ashamed, right? Because they had been embarrassed, they had been humiliated, right? They had been made effeminate because they stripped them down to their buttocks. Then, of course, they shaved off one half of their beard, had them looking like clowns. So it's showing you that brothers, man, took their appearance very seriously, right? Especially, man, their beard, all right? They had it on their face, man. So remember, it was a sign of dignity, okay, to a man, all right? So if you do something like that, you shave off half of their beard and leave the other half, man, of course, people, when you come back to town, people gonna be looking at you funny, man. Like, what happened to your beard? Huh? What's going on, man? So as you can see, brothers had to deal with this. Okay, so they tarried at Jericho, man, until their beards be grown back. All right. So there are many other instances in the scripture to show, man, how brothers wore their beards. You know what I'm saying? And sisters how they of course, like the daughters of Zion, right, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 16, showing, how they had, how the Israelite women took pride in their appearance, and then how, how it all of that was taken away from them, of course, by the Most High, right, because of their wickedness, right? So the Most High said, all right, set a long beautiful hair, you'll have baldness now, your hair ain't gonna be as long as it once was, right? Your hair is gonna be prone to fall out. You're gonna put all type of relaxers and things like that, man, in your hair. You won't stay out of your hair, it's gonna fall out. All right, so there are, of course, different there are scriptures, man, to show, our people had hair. They took it as, as a sign of dignity, as we had read in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. All right. So of course, if there are any further questions, of course, you always can, go into the description box and send us an email at house of Isaac 144 at gmail.com. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sons of Isaac 144,000, and check us out on our website. Send us a message. Of course, it's Sons of Isaac 144.org, and just drop us a line, and we'll get back to you at our earliest convenience. On Chaarash Allah. And of course, again, thank you for tuning in to another weekly class, and shalom.